Hello, this is the final converting measures lesson. It's number 5 in the series, and this one is all about converting from imperial measurements to metric units. Imperial are the old style measures like feet and inches and stones, which people still use despite metric being the official unit of measurement from about the 1970s onwards. Here are some really important facts that you need to make a note of and write down somewhere so that you can use them for the problems coming up. So 1 foot equals 12 inches. So my height is 5 foot or 5 feet, 4 inches. 1 pound equals 16 ounces. So when you're doing weights of food, you might measure it in pounds or ounces. In the average birthday cake, for instance, you might use 8 ounces of flour. 1 stone is the same as 14 pounds. So in weight, somebody may weigh 10 stone and 7 pounds. That would be 10.5 stone. 1 gallon equals 8 pints. And we still sometimes talk about gallons of petrol. And 1 inch converts to approximately 2.5 centimetres. So that's where we're going from imperial to metric measurements, about 2.5 centimetres for 1 inch. Have a go at putting these in order of size and think about how you know which is the biggest and which is the smallest. There's your answer. 1 metre is the biggest. 1 foot comes next. Then 1 inch, because 1 foot is 12 inches. Then 1 centimetre, because 1 inch is about 2.5 centimetres, and then 1 millimetre. Use the facts at the top to help you fill in the gaps on the green questions. So 2.5 centimetres is about 1 inch, and 1 foot is 12 inches. So how many inches are there in 2 feet? Roughly how many centimetres is 6 inches? How many feet equals 36 inches? And roughly how many centimetres is 4 feet? Pause the video and have a try at those. Okay, so we know that 1 foot is 12 inches, so 2 feet, which is double, is just going to be double, so 24 inches. That's quite straightforward. For the next one, 6 inches will be approximately 15 centimetres, because we know that 1 inch is about 2.5, so if we multiply 2.5 centimetres by 6, we get 15. For the next one, we know that 1 foot is 36 inches, so 1 foot is 12 inches, so 3 feet is going to be 3 times 12, which is 36. And incidentally, that's also called 1 yard. So you will have heard people talk about yards. They're a tiny little bit less than a metre. And for the last one, it's a little bit more tricky because we're going from 4 feet and we're going to centimetres. So we've kind of got to go do a 2-stage process for that. And the way that I did it was I know that 1 foot is 12 inches and that 1 inch is 2.5 centimetres. So I did 12 times 2.5, which gave me 30 centimetres for 1 foot. And then 30 times 4 will give me 4 feet. So that's going to give me 120 centimetres. And incidentally, the usual size school ruler was made traditionally to be 1 foot long, 12 inches long, and we know it's 30 centimetres, don't we? So that's quite a good way of remembering that 1 foot is 30 centimetres. Here's another question for you using the facts at the top in purple. 1 pound, and the abbreviation for that is LB, equals 16 ounces, and the abbreviation for that is OZ or OZS. And 1 stone equals 14 pounds, LBS. It's the way of distinguishing between that sort of pounds and the pounds that are money. So your questions are 2 pounds equals how many ounces? 5 stone equals how many pounds? How many pounds is the same as 320 ounces? And how many stones is the same as 154 pounds? And incidentally, we sometimes say 5 stone or 5 stones. It's quite interchangeable, even though we know that 5 is a plural number. It's still often mentioned just as 5 stone. Okay, so again for the first one, fairly straightforward. We've been told that 1 pound is 16 ounces, so 2 pounds must be double that, 32 ounces. Then for the second one, 5 stone, we know 1 stone is 14 pounds, so if we do 5 times 14, we get 70, so 70 pounds. For the next one, we've got 320 ounces, we've been given that. If we were to divide that by 16, so not as hard as it sounds, you'd find that that was 20 pounds. And then for the last one, 154 pounds, I thought about the fact that we know if 1 stone is 14 pounds, then 10 stone must be 140 pounds. And then 154 is just one lot of 14 more than that. So therefore it's 11 stone. For this next question, we need to know that 1 gallon equals 8 pints. So can we work out how many gallons is the same as 64 pints? How many pints is the same as 15 gallons? And how many gallons is the same as 2 pints? Pause the video and have a try. So for the first one, if you've got 64 pints, then that's going to work out as 8 gallons. You divide 64 by 8. For the second one, if you've got 15 gallons, that's 15 times 8 is 120 pints. And then for the last one, if you think about if 1 gallon is 8 pints, then 1 pint is an eighth of a gallon. So 2 pints is going to be 2/8 of a gallon, which is also the same as a quarter. Well done if you got that. For this reasoning problem, you'll need to convert between feet, inches and centimetres. So my son is 6'2" tall and I am 162 centimetres tall. Who is taller and by how much? So think about whether you would prefer to convert into centimetres or to feet and inches. Maybe try it both ways and see which one works best for you. Okay, I decided to convert the feet and inches into centimetres. And so I looked at 6'2" and decided that since there were 12 inches in a foot, I needed to do 6 times 12 and then add on the extra 2 inches. So that gave me 72 inches plus 2 inches. So 74 inches altogether. Then I needed to turn that into centimetres, remembering that approximately 2.5 centimetres equals 1 inch. So I need 74 times 2.5. There's my calculation. Came out as 185 centimetres, which means that he is taller by the difference between 185 and 162, which is 23 centimetres. To convert this into inches and work it round, you would need to divide 162 centimetres by approximately 2.5 to get that in inches. But then if you ended up with fractions of inches, they're divided into eighths and quarters and that sort of thing, and it gets very much more complicated. So on the whole, it's generally easier to get yourselves into the metric measures if you can. At a sports day, 60 gallons of water was drunk, and each child drank 3 pints. So how many children were there? So for this one, you need to remember that 1 gallon equals 8 pints. So if you had 60 gallons, you need 60 times 8, which is 480 pints. And then if each child had 3 pints, you need to divide 480 by 3, which gives you 160 children. Here's the final problem for you. Tommy wants to make a cake. For this cake, he needs 8 ounces of sugar, 6 ounces of flour and 6 ounces of butter. What he has in the cupboard is half a pound of sugar, 1/4 of a pound of flour and 3/8 of a pound of butter. Has he got enough? And if not, what does he need to buy of each ingredient? So pause the video, convert your pounds into ounces, remembering that there are 16 ounces in a pound. So using that fact that 16 ounces equals 1 pound, we could work out that half a pound is half of 16, which is 8 ounces. He needs 8 ounces of sugar, so he's all right for that. With the flour, 1/4 or 0.25 pounds is going to be 1/4 of 16 ounces, which is 4. But he needs 6 ounces for his recipe, so he needs 2 more ounces of flour. With the butter, 1/8 of a pound would be 2 ounces, because 16 divided by 8 is 2. So 3/8 would be 3 lots of that, 6 ounces. And he needs 6 ounces for his recipe, so he's okay for butter as well. I'm hoping that you found this converting measures useful. There are quite a lot of worksheets that I've put on the VLE for you to tackle now and see how you get on. But why not do some baking and see if you can use these measures in practical terms. Bye.